Hello, and welcome back to Skep's Unnamed Deck Showcase. On this episode of the series, I've decided to take a look at some of the archetypes contained within the 25th Anniversary Scam Box that you are likely to complete if you are trying to make multiple runs for additional copies of your Evil Twin Alt-Arts, beginning with Trickstar, a deck I did not actually own before going into the Scam Box, so I figured we might as well take a look at it first. How does this dedicated control strategy with a burn backup plan stack up in the current era of Duel Links? Let's take you into the deck profile and see for ourselves. So here we are with the deck, and as you can see, it's a pretty standard Trickstar list with 3 ofs of all the cards we want to draw, and a 1 of Light Stage because that's all we can play, and 2 Lycoris because we can search it, so we do not need to max out on it, and we have a pretty standard 8 card deep staple ratio, so we'll go over the card by card in order they appear in our deck list. Beginning with Trickstar Korobane, this is the Honest and Cyber Dragon of the deck. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Trickstar monsters as an activated effect, so it can be negated by transmigration, which is very funny. You can special summon this card from your hand. During the damage step, when your Trickstar monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. That monster you control gains attack equal to its original attack until the end of this turn. Unlike something like an Honest Neos, it doesn't add its attack to your Trickstar monster, it just doubles your Trickstar monster's attack. So rather than going to 38, your Candina will go to 18. Speaking of Candina, the heart and soul of the deck, when this card is normal summoned, you can add a Trickstar card from your deck to your hand. Much like Stratos, this is not a once per turn, so if you can somehow gain an additional normal summon, you will be able to search an additional time. Each card your opponent activates a spell or trap card, inflict 100 damage to them immediately after it resolves. Finally, for our Trickstar monsters, we have Trickstar Lycoris, standard card here from the olden days of Trickstar. Quick effect, reveal this card in your hand. Target a Trickstar monster you control except itself. Special summon that card, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. Each time a card is added to your opponent's hand, inflict 100 damage to them for each. This means if you have your Light Stage on the field and you can not finish off your opponent, when they draw for turn, you can potentially burn them for 200, winning you a game, which has come up and is very funny every time it does. Additionally, you can search this off of Candina, return Candina to your hand, so you can normal summon it next turn to keep your advantage going. Also, in the battle phase, when you are swinging for lethal, you can attack for 2,000 with one of your Link monsters, attack for 18 with Candina, target Candina with Lycoris to attack for another 16 to put you over lethal damage. Finally, for the monsters, we're on 2 DD Crow. I believe it to be the superior hand trap, and it does come up as a more impactful card over the course of these games than an Effect Veiler would have. I would not consider Effect Veiler better than this, and if you can Dream Ticket these cards, I would suggest doing that. But since DD Crow and all of these cards are available in the Scam Box, if you haven't already gotten everything else out of the box, like I have, maybe in addition to Alt-Arts, you might want to get this deck from it, and basically everything but the traps are in that box. So another reason to play DD Crow is it's probably more accessible than Effect Veiler is at this point in time. For our spell traps, we're on 1 Trickstar Light Stage. I'm really curious as to if Trickstar would be tiered if they took this off the Limit 1 list. Not if they gave us more copies, but if you could play this and Terraforming. I still don't think it would be broken, but I mean, people hate control decks in Duel Links, so why would they want to make this one better? 3 copies of Trickstar Festival. This is like very funny that it's playable in Duel Links, so I'm kind of happy about that. Special summon 2 Trickstar tokens, locks you into Trickstars, and protects your Trickstars from destruction by banishing itself. So Candina and Festival on its own are both Trickstar Crimson Heart, which is why we're maxing out on both. We're maxing out on Korobane because if our Candina gets Effect Veilered, we'd like to have Korobane to special summon from our hand, because we do need to draw a Trickstar, Candina, and Festival plus another monster, because sadly Crimson Heart is a bad card, as I'll explain after we finish up with our staple lineups. 3 Book of Moon, the best non-Limit 3 back row piece. You could also play Warning Point, but Book of Moon is both better and available in the Scam Box along with the Trickstars if you want to pull them from there. So probably more accessible to anyone wanting to build Trickstars. But if you built Salamangreat and you have 3 Warning Point, maybe you want to play those instead. Book of Moon I still think is better due to its flexibility going second and baiting out a Tachyon Transmigration when you target the big rank 8 that they make. 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. Originally, this was 3, but sometimes your opponent's decks just play around Ice Dragon's Prison due to not playing multiple monsters of the same type. And in that scenario, you might want the 1 of Compulse. So you can play any ratio of 3 cards you want, but since all of your Trickstar monsters need like specifically Trickstars or in the case of Foxglove Fairy-type monsters, I wouldn't recommend Crackdown in this deck, but maybe Floodgate Trap Hole comes up if you're playing something like Warning Point. You can play Floodgate as your Limit 3 card. But Ice Dragon's Prison is just so powerful and game-winning when it goes off, and Compulse is a plus or a even 0, which is pretty nice for this deck, which thrives off its card advantage game, so I wouldn't really consider replacing Compulse for anything other than the 3rd IDP if you really want it, for whatever reason. For the extra deck, we're on the 1 Aquamax, which I accidentally pulled instead of a Shaddoll Beast. 1 Nightmare Unicorn, which, hold on a second, why are we playing this fucking card? When we have the beautiful alt art that I wasted way too much fucking money on. So we have Nightmare Unicorn. This is just a best link 3 to climb into if you need to remove back row to push for lethal. You can link off your Crimson Heart after drawing 2 cards into a Nightmare Unicorn. And then Unicorn plus Candina is also lethal. Candina will, of course, search you a card to discard off of Unicorn. So that's a little nice bit of synergy there. Foxglove Witch, I'm going to be honest, I got no idea what this card does, and I'm not going to read it because it didn't come up. 2 copies of Crimson Heart. I think this is like not that good. I would probably play 2 Holly Angel instead, but I think this card is free, so, I mean, maybe that's why the person I saw this original list from was playing 2, but I would say 2 Holly Angel. Did you know I had 2 of the alt arts, but only 1 fucking Lilla? 1 Trickstar Bella Madonna. This card's bad, but what else are you going to play? 1 Trickstar Devardis. This card's bad, but what else are you going to play? This card actually isn't that bad. It's a card that burns your opponent for normal or special summons, so another way you can potentially burn them out of a low life point total. Unfortunately, we don't have a main phase 2, so you're going to have to link into this before the battle phase. And it also needs level 3 or lower Trickstar monsters, which are either your Festival tokens or Lycoris. The Festival tokens making this makes it better than it otherwise would be, but this doesn't seem great. But, like, do you really need to max out on Holly Angel? Probably not. I literally only make 1 link to potentially this first Holly Angel in addition to Crimson Heart, and then Unicorn, and then like Aquamax if I need to run over a Blue Eyes. So everything in the extra deck other than that can be whatever you want. I'm pretty confident in this list. I liked playing it. The staple lineup, I think, is pretty good, and I think the monster lineup is about as good as it can be. You can potentially tech in a copy of Lilybell if you want. I don't think that's too bad. Adding cards back from your graveyard is not a bad thing, potentially if you only want to play 2 Trinity pieces or 2 Book of Moons or, like, less hand traps. You can just play a copy of Lilybell. I forgot to mention at the start of this profile the skill. It's basically 3 effects with extra steps, one of the funniest skills in the game. Holly Angel Trick, originally all it did was increase the effect damage of your Holly Angel to its TCG amount, that being 200. But when they saw everyone was just playing this deck on Playmaker with 3 effects, they added the 3 effects skill effect to allow you to select a Trickstar Link monster on your field and gain life points equal to its attack. That comes into play with our turn 1 combo because we are linking off into Crimson Heart, increasing our life points by 2,000 with the skill, activating this monster's effect to discard a Trickstar card and draw 2 cards. I don't understand why this card needs to discard a Trickstar card specifically. It's like you need to invest 2 monsters to make it, and you need to have 2,000 or more life points than your opponent to get a +1 or really even 0 since your opponent's drawing a card. This is just a bad card that's situationally good in Duel Links, which is part of what makes Duel Links good. Incredibly mid cards like this get to be mission critical in a lower powered format, and I do think that's very cool. I just am lamenting the fact that I can't pitch a stray DD Crow for a draw 2. I think that wouldn't have made the card that much more broken at all. With all that being said, let me take you into some games and see how this control deck performs in the current high-powered metagame we find ourselves in and see if it can keep up. Goofy game 1 here up against Aogami, the goofball himself. On Cubics, we are, of course, on Trickstar is going to activate our skill, and they will do the same at the beginning of the match. We draw a Festival plus discard, which is very nice. They're going to activate Duza to send a trap card that banishes itself to activate an effect. We are going to remove that from the field and then activate Trickstar Festival so we can get our combo going. We're going to activate the effect of our skill to gain 2,000 life points, pitch the Korobane to draw Book of Moon, their face-up cubic, preventing them from distributing any cubic counters since they no longer control a cubic monster. Our card will resolve. We'll draw 2 cards into Candina, add Trickstar Light Stage to our hand, very high roll. I should have discarded Candina to guarantee Corobane in hand, but we just were better at the game and drew the card that searched it. We're going to activate Lycoris, putting Candina back in our hand to gain 200 life points and an additional 1,600 points of damage, plus 100 for burn damage, meaning in the draw phase, we will kill them. The Goofy games continue here with our second match up against an opposing Blue Angel on Holly Angel Trickstar themselves. We're going to see which one of us can't do it better than the other. We open double festival, so hopefully we draw something good off of our Crimson Heart. We are going to activate the effect of our skill to increase our life points by 2,000 and pitch this festival to draw 2 Book of Moons. Damn. So we got IDP and double book. See if we can't make something happen with that. They're going to activate MST into Trickstar Festival, Link summoning their own Crimson Heart. Luckily, because of how the skill interacts with our cards, because they're going to have the same life points as we are, they aren't going to get the draw 2, so if they activate their effect, they will actively be minusing themselves. Let's see if they can figure that out. They are going to gain 2,000 life points, normal summon Candina. We're going to chain Book of Moon simply because we do not want them to get a Lycoris and return the Candina to their hand for a normal summon next turn. They're going to activate Light Stage to add a Lycoris to their hand. They probably think they can target face-down monsters, but they cannot. They're going to freeze our back row. They're going to discard a Trickstar to draw a card. They draw us into Candina. Very, very nice for us. They're going to activate Lycoris in hand to return their monster to the extra deck. They probably genuinely did think they could return their face-down card. They're going to swing in with the second Corobane. We are going to protect our monster with the Festival Engrave. Light Stage going to burn us for 100. They're going to force our activation of Ice Dragon's Prison, so we're just going to take their Trickstar Corobane, gain 200 life points, and then see if we can't make something happen with this Link material. We're going to normal summon into a Solemn Scolding, which would have allowed us to draw another 2 cards, but I suspected that our opponent would have had the third Corobane, and what do you know they do? So they're going to activate Corobane as we attack the Lycoris, so we will activate our own Corobane to get over for 800 and defeat their last monster. Their top deck and return another back row. I suspect it's a Solemn Scolding, but you never really know. So we're going to discard the Corobane to make Nightmare Unicorn after drawing 2 cards, getting rid of the DD Crow we don't need, normal summoning Lycoris for no reason, setting the next IDP and killing them for exact lethal. Goofy Game 3 here, going to be up against Supreme King Goofball on Evil Hero Fluffle. It's really just Fluffle playing Malicious Edge for the field spell. We draw the best hand Trickstar is capable of producing. Book of Moon, Ice Dragon's Prison, Book of Moon. I guess I'm just really good at the game. They're going to fusion into Frightful Devil with the effect of Owl. We're going to draw Festival for turn, which is fine. We're not going to get to draw cards here, but we are going to put up a monster with attack points and gain 2,000 life points, set 3 cards, and pass. I forgot that Ice Dragon's Prison was released in 2020, and as a result has a hard ones return on it. So we're going to see if 1 Book of Moon and 1 IDP can't win us the game. It probably can. They're going to draw into Fluffle Bear, the best draw on their deck, discarding it to set a Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor will let them discard another card to add a Fluffle Bear from their deck to their, or draw a Fluffle Bear rather, and they will neglect to special summon it. They're going to normal summon the Edgem Savers to add Fright for Foreskin. They're going to reveal the Fright for Foreskin in their hand to set the Supreme King Castle. Going to activate Edgem Savers, and since they so gracefully minus themselves for the effect of Edgem Savers, we are going to activate Ice Dragon's Prison to prevent them from getting any field advantage and banish their big fusion monster. So now they're going to have to commit to that Fright for Fusion if they want to get over our Crimson Heart, which means we'll be able to Book of Moon it and keep ourselves alive for another turn. They are going to pass. Any Trickstar name does it, and we sure fucking do not draw one. They're going to activate Supreme King's Castle, milling the Mally Edge, and we're going to get over Fright for Tiger. They're going to discard the Metal Foes Fusion off of Toy Vendor. We're going to DD Crow that so they do not draw another card. They're going to draw into Dark Fusion and have to send that to the graveyard, which will prompt the concession. Alrighty, next game going to be playing up against an actually semi-relevant deck, that being, of course, Live Twins. I figure if our deck is a Link Spam control deck, we should probably see how it fares against the actual best Link Spam control deck in the metagame, that being Live Twins. We draw a pretty good hand, and by that I mean we draw Trickstar Festival plus a card to discard and 2 staples. Let's see what we can't make happen with our Crimson Heart draws after we gain 2,000 life points with our skill. We're going to send that Lycoris to the graveyard, draw 2 Book of Moons. So we have IDP, Book of Moon, and DD Crow. Hopefully we can't make something happen with that. They're going to activate MST. That's fine. We still got 2 back row left over. They're going to activate MST. You've got to be fucking kidding me. We've got 1 back row left over. Let's see if Ice Dragon's Prison is not enough to take it home. Luckily, they do telegraph a hand that does not feature a normal summon, so they are going to activate the Live Twin home. Going to activate Lilla to revive Kiss a Kill, which means they will summon Kiss a Kill to revive Lilla. We're going to activate IDP and DD Crow to prevent them from summoning the smaller Lilla and getting its on summon effect. They do not open any cards, so any Trickstar gets us there, and we open Korobane. I spend a second deciding if I want to pitch this to draw 2 cards, but then I realize Live Twin plays hand traps, but they don't play Kiteroid, so we're just going to take the Easy Ray out here, special summon Korobane, gain 200 life points, go to the battle phase, and kick them in the teeth twice for 4,000 damage, exact lethal. Very stupid. Alrighty, final game here, going to be up against post-nerf Galaxy Eyes, surely with Galactic Spiral at 3 and Tachyon Transition at 1. The deck will definitely be more in line with the rest of the meta and rogue contenders and will be a fine game to showcase. We open, for the first time, a hand that does not make Crimson Heart. But we have 3 staples. Surely that'll be just fine. We're going to normal summon Lycaris, set 2 cards, and pass. They're going to draw a card, take 100. Then they're going to activate Tachyon Dragon Domination. They're going to reveal Galactic Spiral Dragon in their hand to add Nebula Dragon to their hand. Damn, just draw 2 cards in your first turn. Crazy. They're going to activate, of course, set the skill setting the Galactic Spiral, burning them for 100 thanks to the skill. We're going to Book a Moon that thing. They open Lance. Surely we can play through 1 Lance with Ice Dragon's Prison. We just have to time it right, but we just need to get, you know, the right hit off of Ice Dragon's Prison, and we'll be just fine. Returning a monster to the hand with the skill will burn them for 100. They'll reveal Nebula Dragon and another monster to summon them both. Then they're going to overlay for Tachyon Dragon Buster Blaster Man. Then they're going to overlay for Full Armor Foreskin Dragon. Activate the effect to pop our monster. They're going to activate Rank Up Magic. We're going to activate Ice Dragon's Prison. And then the second Lance comes down. The engine is so fucking small because the skill gives you every card you need to play because Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links does not want to be a fucking card game for some reason, so they just get to play so many cards that just out their back row. If they didn't draw double Lance, they would have drawn MST Lance. Oh, I hate this fucking game. They're going to make their monster unaffected, which will prevent them from ranking up, but who gives a shit? They can just make Cypher Blade anyway. What a dog shit game. They're going to activate Cypher Blade's effect, blow up our monster, and attack me directly, and that's the end of the game. So we're back with the deck, and despite this deck's 4 out of 5 win rate, I don't necessarily think I was too impressed, and I think a lot of this deck's issues were showcased even in the games we won. For example, this deck is not as consistent as Live Twin, where Live Twin has 10 one-card combos that draw you a card. This really only has 2, and they are not even one-card combos because in addition to opening Candina and Festival, you also need to open another Trickstar name to discard a card to draw 2, and because your opponent is drawing a card as well, you're not even really gaining that much card advantage, whereas with Live Twin, you really get to dedicate your whole combo to going plus in card advantage, and your in-engine combo ends on a monster destruction effect as well, whereas this deck simply ends on multiple cards in hand, so you are still relying on outside text for your interruption, which is not exactly where I think we want to be with a control deck. Right now, you really want your engine to accomplish a lot in addition to your staples as well. Put it this way, you not only want to have a main deck engine that's small enough to let you run a ton of staples to draw, but you also want your small main deck engine to have stuff that it accomplishes itself to interact with your opponent. This deck sadly doesn't really provide that, and as a result, I think it's just slightly below Rogue tier for this upcoming metagame. Despite that, if you are a fan of Trickstars, you can definitely hit King of Games with it, so I'm not going to fault you for playing it if you just like this deck's gameplay style, and I hope you are successful when piloting it. So that's that. Thank you to everyone who stuck around until the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, or at the very least found it informative. If you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate leaving a like and comment to allow this video to spread around and get in front of the eyes of more people, so they can hopefully learn how to play this incredibly fun deck as well. With all that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Finally, I was able to pull a Madolche Sistart from the card trader, so I'll be making a video on that in the coming days. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.